Evil is back. The Drool King Lotor has returned with a dark energy that can destroy the galaxy. Our only hope? The Voltron Force, a team of 5 heroic pilots that control 5 awesome robot lions. When Lotor's monstrous road beasts attack, the lions come together to form Voltron, defender of the universe.
Oh! Let's Voltron! Oh! Let's Voltron! Oh! Let's Voltron!
Welcome, Voltron fans. This is Marc Morell, your host for Let's Voltron, the official Voltron podcast. We're here for another exciting podcast, but this time we're going to be talking about another exciting Voltron convention coming up in October. So we have some guests with us, the organizers of VoltCon. And of course, I have to bring on my co-host, Greg Tyler. Welcome, Greg.
Hello, Mark. Hello, special guests, and hello, special listeners and viewers across the universe. It's great to be back.
Yes. We can say that we have viewers across the universe, you know.
That's right.
We have had first contact, you know, recently.
You
know that, right?
Therein lies a tale.
So we are excited because VoltCon is coming up in October. So we are now going to introduce the organizers of VoltCon. So first off, Kevin Clark.
Welcome
Thanks
back.
for having me. Good to be here.
Hey, Kevin.
Woo, woo, woo.
And of course, we also have Patrick and Savannah O'Connor.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Great to be back.
Greetings and salutations.
Greetings from
All
across
right.
the universe.
Great
Good
to see you both.
guys and all your toys.
Oh, there are some toys here.
Where does he get those wonderful toys?
That's not all the toys.
Yeah, that's not even close.
Oh yeah, that's true of all of us here. So now we're all here, all present and accounted for. So how are the preparations for the 3rd annual VoltCon for VoltCon 2021?
Going good.
I think it's coming along really well.
Yeah. It's hard to believe that we've hit like the 60-day mark. Now is the part where I don't sleep real well until after it's over, and I stress a lot and worry about money and details and this and that. So I can't wait.
We'll keep it.
It's worth it. It's worth it. It's so cool, but it's just part
I'm sure
of
I
it.
mentioned before that the first year, right before the first year convention, I had a nightmare where the venue double booked the event and I ended up having it at my house.
Oh my.
And it was a nightmare. It was literally a nightmare.
Wow.
But it actually all turned out great. So
It would
Yeah,
have turned out great. Yeah.
It turned out really great.
Share the event with, Johnny's bar mitzvah.
yeah, exactly.
Fine.
So this year marks the return of Greg.
Yes. That's right.
Yeah. We're so excited.
Yes. Yeah, I missed you all last year. I'm glad to be returning. And we've got some.
We're
You
glad to
guys
have
have got some really awesome additional folks showing up for VoltCon. Who are some of the guests?
Well, we've got our guests of honor, beginning with Benjamin Kultenecker, the line producer from Voltron Legendary Defender.
No.
Awesome.
We're getting some
you, of course, know
milkshake.
him. You guys have interviewed him before, right?
Yes, we have.
Yes, we did.
And you are going to be interviewing him at the convention.
Yes, we are.
Awesome. Yeah, so he's really excited. And actually, for those, I'm sure the listeners know that he has the namesake of the Kultenecker character from the show, and he actually signs his emails Moo. I just wanted to say. So he's really into it.
We got little cow stress balls in his honor.
Yeah. Expect
That
to see
is
lots
awesome.
of cows this year. Lots.
Nice.
There's and
Nice.
the kids that came up with the legendary defenders last year.
Oh.
It's just become this whole thing.
So another of our guests of honor new this year is Flint Dilley, who you may know from Transformers and G.I. Joe fame.
Mhm.
He has worked with Gary Gygax from Dungeons and Dragons on Dungeons and Dragons projects. He's also worked with Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, Frank Miller, and Jack Kirby, among others. So
Never heard of those guys.
it's like a who's who of nerddom right there.
Yes, he's got some great credits to his name, and my understanding is that he is a descendant of the creator of Buck Rogers as well. Is that right?
I did not know that.
cool.
I believe so.
Really?
That is amazing. I'll have to ask him about that. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Wow.
He's got a book out talking about his exploits in the 80s, working behind the scenes on these different cartoon properties, and he's hopefully going to be introducing Transformers the movie for us at the event as well. So
Nice.
since he was a writer on that. So,
I think you will.
let's see. We have Franklin Kofod returning.
Yes.
Yay!
Just
Uh-huh.
announced.
Go Franklin.
Yeah.
This darling.
He's an amazing
Yes.
person.
Mhm.
Producer, of course, from Voltron Defender of the Universe in 1984. And we were pleased to have him the first year for 2019, and he's coming back. So,
That's
Yay!
great.
and then finally, with our guests of honor, we have, of course, Bob Koppler, the president of World Events Productions,
Woohoo!
Yes.
and also behind the Voltron Force series, which we're going to be talking about a little later.
Very cool. This is the 10th anniversary of Voltron Force
Yes.
and the 5th of Voltron Legendary Defender. So that's cool.
And
Right.
the 40th of Go Lion.
That is true. And the 35th of Transformers the movie, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
we
didn't
can't
plan
forget
this
Go
at all.
Lion.
Lots of stars coming into
There are
alignment.
so
Right.
many anniversaries for so many different versions of Voltron.
Right.
We could
Um,
have each of our arms and legs and our head be a different version of Voltron for in honor of all the celebrations.
We
Yes,
could do that.
that'd be quite a combo.
If only we had thought of that for the artwork before now. Well, you know who else we have coming to VoltCon this year? We have Let's Voltron, the official Voltron podcast.
Woohoo!
Who are they?
Hey.
Who are they?
Our
Oh,
honored
those
media
people.
guests.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
And we also have the Shakeups, of course.
Yay!
Oh, yes. Woohoo.
Cartoon Fueled Power Pop Band. Some people may know them. We also have returning cosplay guests, Marika Levine, also known as Mama Voltron,
Mama
All right.
Voltron.
and Eric Stocker. who you guys-
Yes.
Everybody knows Eric now.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
And
famous.
well, they should.
He won the first year's contest.
Indeed.
Well, that's
So-
great.
Are we
We haven't
coming
seen-
back? Are we
haven't
coming
seen
back
it
for
live.
trivia again?
What's that?
Are we doing
Alright.
trivia again?
We'll
Absolutely.
be having trivia.
Okay.
Tara Scully's helping with trivia again this year,
Yay!
so
Go Tara.
Awesome.
I put her to work putting together a long list of good, difficult questions. So
Oh, good.
get ready.
Nice.
We have some young people that are putting together some fun panels too for
hmm
We have a Blade of Marmora panel this time.
Yes.
And for
Oh,
the
cool.
first time at VoltCon ever, we have a shipping panel.
Wow.
Wow.
That should be fun.
It's been a long time coming, but it's
Oh,
finally
but
happening.
You'll like the youngins. We got to do it. They are.
I can
charming.
tell you that at the first year, there's no way anybody would have convinced me to do a shipping panel. I don't think I even
no.
knew what shipping was the first year. I was like, what are y'all talking about?
But you love the legendary Defenders babies.
I've
I love it.
evolved so much now. I'm like, yes, we must have a shipping panel. That's
So-
how
so-
many pros I've had in the few years.
So I got to tell you guys, when I shot a video review for our YouTube channel, reviewing the Playmates Toys action figures of Shiro, Keith, and Lance, at the end of the video, I had to do a dad joke. I said, so I had them in my hands in front of the camera. In any combination, and I was just putting them together in the Glance, the Clance, the Shance, and the you know what I mean, Clance and all that stuff. But I was just doing in any combination, these action figures are perfect for, and then I very quickly wrapped them in bubble wrap and threw them in a box, shipping. And then I went, wow.
Oh,
Anyway,
love
And-
it.
Patrick, I have a confession.
Uh-oh.
I was listening to your album last week, your Voltron album, on the way to work, and
For
I
the first time?
no. Several times, I'm sad to say, and every time I kept saying, I don't understand this Team Punk song.
Oh.
For
You
like
understand
how
it
many
now?
years I've been like, I don't understand why you wrote this song. Now I get it.
The Pidge and the Hunk.
I'm like, there's something wrong with me that I don't do this stuff.
Hey, that's
I
canon.
can't. I
That's
just
canon in the show.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was
well-
actually a thing.
Kevin,
In an
we saw
episode.
them
maybe I'm not a
singing
real fan. I don't know.
the On song earlier, and we all thought of you.
Oh,
We were having a shakeups practice before this. So.
sweet.
So the term Team Punk was established in the episode Changing of the Guard. There.
Yes.
How
got
do
a
you
little
know that?
handy
That's fascinating.
I have a handy dandy reference that I'm still trying to put together, but it does have all of Legendary Defender
That's wonderful.
in it.
I forget everything.
Well, we should mention that we also have our cosplay contest coming back this year,
Awesome.
Awesome.
hosted by Eric and Marika.
Nice.
Yes.
And do you also have the video room where you'll be showing all the
Yes.
cartoons?
I can give you want a rundown of some of the things we're showing?
Yes, please.
Sure.
Okay,
Lots of
sure.
good
Yeah, the
stuff.
Explorer video room will be back.
I will tell you that there's been a mountain of DVDs on my coffee table for several weeks.
Wow.
Where Patrick has been painstakingly deciding which things and which episodes of which things go into this video room. Where
That's
at any
dedication,
given
folks.
time, maybe not that many people wander in and out. So it's like, it's just so cute.
Everybody has their thing, and that thing is mine.
It's all about the details.
That's right.
Anyway, okay, so of course we're going to be showing Voltron Defender of the Universe and
Yes.
Voltron Force and
Yes.
Beast King Go Lion and Voltron Legendary Defender. What you may not know is we're also showing things like Voltus 5, 6-God Combination Godmars, Super Dimension Century Orgus,
Wow.
Transformers Headmasters,
Oh,
Gunbuster
wow. Yeah.
Aim for the Top, Technoman, Vision of Escaflowne, Big O, Mobile Suit Gundam, Mazinger Z, and Interstellar 5555.
Ooh,
Wow.
Among others.
Some of those, you must have paid a pretty penny to get some of those.
And Robotech. Sorry.
Wow.
Can't forget that one.
he gets them for most holidays.
Wow.
Nice. I remember watching Transformers Headmasters. It was someone had dubbed a second generation videotape, several videotapes, and sent them to me 20 some years ago. And I remember watching those and those horrible voices and Soundwave dying and becoming new Soundwave. I mean, what a name. Anyway, good stuff.
Yeah, Ryan Howe from our staff group is very into Transformers and he loves Headmasters, and he gave me a copy of this DVD and I checked it out, and there's things I like about it and don't like, but I thought we should show some, even as a curiosity. I think people will be interested in it.
Oh yeah, and it's so much
Especially
better than
with
the
Flint there as
three-part.
a guest.
Yeah, I mean, as cheesy as the voices are, it's a lot better than the 3-part US Rebirth miniseries they did in the cartoon in the US. Yeah, or not Rebirth, the 3-part Headmaster thing after Optimus came back. Yeah,
where Japan split off from our continuity.
Yep. Anyway,
Why did you choose Unicorn Gundam as opposed to all the other millions of Gundams?
Well, we showed some of the original last year,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we showed some of Seed the year before. So we were just kind of picking and choosing what to show, and the quality of the animation in that one is really great.
It is.
Part of the reason. Yeah. So, also,
Okay.
it's a shorter series, and it's easier to show like bite-sized chunks of it versus
okay,
like the other
fair
ones
enough.
have so many episodes.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So you feel like you're getting more of the story seeing one part of this versus like 5 or 6 parts of another one.
Okay.
makes sense.
So we're looking forward to the cartoon video room. And the other thing I wanted to ask is, are we allowed to talk about the panels that Greg and I are doing?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Let's do it.
Okay, so Mark, what's in the game? What's in the queue for you?
So you had mentioned that we're already doing the interview with Benjamin Kaltenecker.
Yes.
Okay. Are we also still doing an interview with Bob Koppler?
I think Bob said he was going to do his own presentation this
He's
time
doing his own. Okay.
for Voltron Force. We were going to have you
Gotcha.
guys talk to Franklin Kofod instead.
Yes. Instead, we're going to talk to Franklin Kofod. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yes, indeed.
I just
then
remember the
also-
first year I asked a bunch of questions, and then we got to the end of the panel. I remember other people in the audience, including you guys, were just asking question after question. I was like, I really should have had these guys interview Franklin. So this time it's going to happen.
All right. We have interviewed him a few times on the podcast. And of course, we've gotten to be good friends with him.
Yeah.
So
He is a great person.
looking forward to having him back. Greg, you're also doing a panel that has to do with vehicle Voltron, right?
Yes, I've already started on it. Got a bit of work yet to do. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm having a blast, and it's been fun rewatching some of the episodes and going, what? But anyway, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So,
And
what's that?
I'm sorry, are you bringing your vehicle Voltron back?
Yes, I'll bring back the custom Panache play style vehicle team Voltron that I brought in 2019, and that'll be fun to help decorate for the panel, I guess. But
And it'll have a colored head this time?
it does. Colored head. The whole thing's done. Yes.
Woo!
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it'll be back.
And then I'll get mine at Christmas time.
Yes, just like you said on Facebook. Buddy.
Yep.
Now wait a minute, you get one and I don't?
I asked for one. I mean, I told him, baby.
Kevin started the rumor, and I said, whoever told you that needs to make me another one. But anyway, yeah, he started the rumor. Yeah. I will neither confirm nor deny. How's that? But anyway,
And
okay, I'll
then-
deny.
And then our last panel, we're talking about all the voice actors that have ever been in any Voltron version ever.
And that's all you, Mark, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But we're doing that together. We are.
Okay, I'm happy to take part in it. I just don't. Yeah. That's. But I'm glad you're taking the lead on it.
I'm taking the lead on that one.
You only have an hour for that?
We should be able to make it through.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we could do all the Defender of the Universe in like 10 minutes because there's only like
You're right,
6 or 7
exactly.
actors.
Yeah.
Right. Voltron Legendary Defender really pushed the limits of how many voice actors you can have in a show.
Isn't that the truth? Anyway, yeah. Yeah, so it's going to be a fun time. Looking forward to it. Anything else about the con that you can? and
Another
want to
panel
share?
that's another new panel that Marika's doing that I'm interested in is I like big butts and I cannot lie.
Nice.
It's a pan giant robot panel.
Giant robots, yes, of all shapes and sizes.
Other interesting news.
Oh, should we talk about the auction?
Oh, we can do that, but I see your Castle of Lions behind you, and I was just saying, we're currently working on. What should I reveal?
You can.
Andy and I are working on having theater backgrounds, working on maybe having a Castle of Lions set piece for
Wow.
the stage, which would be an excellent.
Oh my gosh.
So we'll see.
That
how
would rock.
Wow.
Currently in the works.
That would be really, really cool.
Wow.
Looking forward to that.
Castle of Lions main stage a little more. The Castle of Lions main stage.
Right.
Nice.
Nice.
Up
We're
until now,
really-
it's been a name only, of course.
So we're,
All
we're
right.
we're really raising the budget on set design, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
So then we have one other exciting new thing this year.
Okay.
We've done different things in the past to thank our VIP guests, VIP badge holders for being awesome and helping the con to exist. Last year we did our fancy dessert party. This year we stepped it up a notch and we're having a
banquet.
a full banquet,
Banquet.
reception. So
Wow.
With
Wow.
with all the guests. So
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, so you guys are going to be there.
Okay.
Well, all right then. Thanks
Friday
for the
night,
heads
7
up.
o'clock.
What time do we have to be there?
7
we'll talk to you
p.m.
about details.
7
Surprise!
p.m. Okay.
We'll save you a dinner roll.
No problem. We'll be there.
All right.
Uh,
And the convention's in Indianapolis, Indiana, for our listeners and viewers who are not familiar. It may be a bit of a drive or flight for some of you, but it is a lot of fun and totally worth it. So check it out.
On
And
a
you had
bright
something
note,
else?
if you're from
What?
either of the coasts, it's cheaper to be here than to be where you are. So,
That's
there's that.
true.
At
Great
least
point.
that.
Kevin, did you want to talk about the auction?
Sure, yeah. This year, the silent auction is going to, the first year, Cats Haven was our charity, and we raised some good money for them. And then last year, of course, with the COVID, we were the charity because we weren't sure if we could cover the cost, but we did. So this year, we're kind of easing back into that, and we've invited Cats Haven back to be a part of the charity. auction. So we're excited about that.
And Cats Haven is an Indianapolis group. They're
Local,
like a nursing home for cats. They give elder care and hospice work for all of Indianapolis ailing cats.
Well, that's
You know,
great.
cats, lions. We just had,
That
Exactly.
makes sense.
got to keep
Very
the
on
theme.
theme. And it's a
Yeah.
worthy cause.
Yeah, they're a great group.
Okay,
great to
that's
hear.
awesome.
It's going to be a fun time. Looking forward to it. Thanks
Yep.
again
Do we
for all your efforts putting this convention together each year.
So it's October.
23rd and 24th, and the 22nd if you're coming to the banquet.
Okay.
All right.
Kevin, did you want to give them any of the vendors that are going to be there?
Yeah, we can do a quick rundown. Of course, the Voltron store will be there again, so that's great. Comic Carnival is returning, as well as Michael Russell with VoltCoin, the guy that made the really
VoltCoin.
awesome collector coins.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be back again. Anthony Hahn, the guy that made the Voltron game that was in the vendor hall.
Right.
He's done some updates. He's coming back, so we'll get to see what else he's done with his game. That's going to be really cool to see.
Cool.
Let's see. M. Catherine Clark is returning, the author. Heidi Black, Archie Cunningham with Dynamic Sketch. Love Archie. He's incredible.
I said Dee's Toy Shop. That's another one.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. I was getting there. Dee's Toy Shop.
Yep.
Elisa Verity.
Fidel, author.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I didn't have that one on my list. I'm sorry. Yeah. Hannah Ray Art will be with us. So we've got a lot of creative folk, a
Cool.
few new ones, and a handful of returning. So we're almost full with the vendor hall, and we're excited about that too.
That's
Awesome.
great.
Yay!
All right.
All right.
All right.
So we're excited about people coming from all over the country this time to join us for VoltCon. And hopefully this year, people may still have to, if they have to fly in, they may still have to wear masks while they're in the airport or on the plane, but it's worth it to get to
Yep.
VoltCon.
The
Yep.
space is large, as we found out last year. If we need to socially distance, if we need to add precautions, we definitely can. I think we'll err on the side of safety, depending on how things are looking when the time comes. Because of course we want everybody safe, but hopefully it'll be still a fun time to celebrate robots and toys and their inner children.
So are there any COVID things that you need to tell people before they come to VoltCon?
Well, as things stand right now, where people that are vaccinated have the option of wearing a mask. People that aren't vaccinated, it's required.
Okay.
Although, with the variant, we're kind of playing it by ear, and it may be required by then, just depending on how things are going. So we're trying to keep it safe, but we're
Right.
fairly confident that we were able to pull off last year with the social distancing and the masks, and we didn't have any reports of anybody getting sick last year. So we're
Yeah, that was
thrilled about
awesome.
that.
Great to hear.
But we know it can be done. We're
Yeah.
just gonna keep our ears to the ground and make sure that we're up on all the latest information.
Okay,
Sounds awesome.
great.
All right. And so October 23rd and 24th in Indianapolis.
The
Be
Marriott
there or
East.
Marriott East. Be there or wish you were being there. How's that?
Grab your tickets at voltcon.org.
Yes.
VoltCon.org.
Make your room reservations there too. Room block 129 a night for the
Ooh,
rooms, just like last year.
Tell
okay.
them VoltCon sent you.
Tell
if
them
you call
VoltCon sent you.
Yeah, tell them VoltCon sent you.
Awesome.
If you say Kevin, they won't know who you're talking about.
Oh, and we'll get to
We
hear
have too many of those.
we'll get to hear the theme song again, right? You
The
guys,
VoltCon theme song?
yeah, you guys are going to
yeah.
play the theme song,
Yes.
right?
The Shake Ups will be playing the VoltCon theme song again this year.
Woohoo!
That's great.
With Kevin in the background vocals.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. He was on the
Right.
vocoder.
I've been warming up. I'm ready, or I will be.
All
I
right.
was trying to call you up on stage last time, but you looked terrified, so I left you alone.
I look that way all the time. It's okay.
So Greg, are you ready to lead us in an episode review for Voltron Force?
Yes, we're going to cover the episode FlashForm Go, which is the 8th episode of the first and only season of Voltron Force, production number 108, and we'll jump into this shortly. And because, in honor of it being FlashForm Go, we're going to make this a little bit faster than a typical episode review is on the podcast. So I'm not going to talk fast or anything. Although, Mark, if in editing you want to make us talk fast, by all means.
Did you plug in Daniel's VoltCon?
No, but I do know someone who is working on a VoltCon to bring to VoltCon.
No way.
Yes, I'm not going to say, but somebody sent me a sneak peek.
Oh man,
it's awesome. It is not me. I wish it were me, but it is amazing.
Okay.
So yeah. So with that in mind,
I gotta wait.
Yes. So going back to
morning.
that's right. Another rumor to start there, Kevin. So all right.
I want one of those for Christmas too.
That's right. So FlashForm Go aired originally July 21st, 2011. Directed by John Delaney, as all the episodes were. The story was by Todd Garfield and Jeremy Corey. It was written by Chris Bishop and Adam F. Goldberg, who is well known nowadays for having created the Goldbergs.
Goldbergs.
That is correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yep. So let's jump right in.
So can we say this has also been called FlashForms Ago?
Yeah, it seems like there's some contention about what the real title is, but the episode itself says FlashForm Go.
Right.
So,
and that's
to go.
That's what Daniel says in the episode.
Yeah,
too.
he says that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
But
I don't
is
know why
it
you.
canon?
That's right. I don't know why you say FlashForms Go, but whatever. Yeah. So let's dive in. The teaser is a pretty straightforward teaser. We start out at a farm on the planet Eris, and we learn only through the end credits, and then when he reappears later in the series, that the farmer is named Barmy, Barmy, and as he and his three kid helpers, which the script calls his sons, are finishing up their work for the day, a nearby volcano erupts, and Barmy and the kids run off to try to get to safety, and their collective butts are saved by red, blue, and yellow lions who show up and create Voltron Force concrete. And what I really love about this, number one, about the farm, if you notice, even in dialogue, Barmy says the second sun is about to set. So it's always fun to get a hint that Eris is not just like Earth as it seemed to be in the original series.
It's more like Tatooine.
And the alien pack animal too is like a bizarre sort of mammoth creature.
Yeah, I love that thing, and the veggies behind them and all that. Yeah. So, and then there's a really fun joke where the Voltron Force is trying to figure out what to do about the lava, and I think Allura says, you know, to Lance, you've got fire, I've got water, Hunk has earth. What does that make? What does that give us? And Hunk says, a really cool band name. You know, a fun little tip of the hat to Earth, Wind, and Fire, I think. But in any event, they create their Voltron Force concrete, save the farm, save the day, and then they radio back to the Castle of Lions, where it's discovered that there's a perfectly circular shaped hole in the side of this volcano, and apparently through every other volcano in line of sight from that one. And and then the volcanoes all start to erupt.
So you're saying these weren't already active volcanoes on Eris?
Presumably not.
They said that there wasn't an active that volcano hadn't been active. So somehow the probe
sets them all.
I think is what we're going with.
Yeah. So apparently,
okay.
Unnatural activity created by the probe running around down there.
Yeah, and maybe the lava was going to erupt soon anyway, and just drilling a hole through the side of the mountain somehow. Yeah, put it over the top.
That's how that works, you know.
Well, of course. It
It's
does on
science.
Eris.
Everybody knows that.
Also, that's not how concrete works, but we'll leave that one alone too.
It's on air.
Well, it made a good joke.
My father was a geologist, and he's like just rolling somewhere. And
Well, the violations of science do not stop in this part of the episode, as we'll get to later.
That is correct.
That's correct.
All you need to
When
know
we-
is it's magic.
when we push past Hyper Mach 3, right?
In space. It's measured in Mach. Don't you love it? Anyway, hyper Mach, which makes all the difference. Anyway, so that was the end of the teaser.
In less than 12 parsecs.
That's right.
when you give me an inch, I'll take a parsec.
That's right. I did love that line. Which yes, it's great stuff. So we were back to Act 1. We're in the castle control room. Apparently 23% of all mountains on the entire planet have circular holes drilled through them. And forests and lakes, by the way, are also being hit by this. They figure out that something is looking for the dens of the lions. And to that I ask, have the people of Planet Doom not been paying attention for all these years?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, yes, the black lion in this show is not standing on top of a pedestal in broad daylight. It's inside the castle. But the yellow lion is in that gigantic lion-shaped rocky thing in the desert.
In the desert. Nothing else around.
yeah. I mean, that one alone should be, if you got to take one out, that's the easiest pick.
Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, they don't know that, apparently.
Like maybe it's not that smart. It's like a Roomba where it's just sort of like roop, 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 but eventually it's gonna hit it. Like it's
Well,
not,
sure. Yeah,
you know, like,
that makes
it's
sense.
not
I'm just saying, where was Lotor or any of his soldiers in all the past times that they've attacked Eris? You think at some point they would have looked over to the left, sheerly out of dumb luck, and thought, hey, there's the blue lion coming out of that lake.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It happens exactly the same way every time.
Yeah, stock footage.
But the series would have stopped at episode 2. So what
All you had to do was looking at the opening sequence of Voltron Legendary Defender, and you would have known it.
There you go. Yeah. So, and here's the fun part is that they've got it computed down to the minute when this probe is going to find a lion.
I don't
They
know
say
how.
like 22 hours and change. You literally see a clock pop up. It's like, yeah, it's like in Star Trek where the Star Trek Generations, where the warp core is going to explode in 5 minutes and there's nothing I can do about it. And they're literally counting down to when it's going to blow up.
Yeah.
They seem to be more worried about when it's going to find a lion versus when it's going to destroy half the planet.
Yeah, like
what
when is it gonna hit a town or a village?
that's a good point.
And what about all those volcanoes that erupted minutes ago in the teaser?
All the destruction.
I mean, the series can go on if they destroy a town, but
But, I mean, it already, like that wine crop is just wrecked. I assume looked like a vineyard,
Yeah. So, yeah.
Because Barmy, he really taps into that wine, you know what I mean? We found out in a later episode.
Now we know where.
That's right. So anyway,
he lost his whole crop.
that's kind of a big deal. So Pidge basically says, yeah, we see this thing flying across the sky. We can't get a clear image because it's moving at Hyper Mach 3. And no lion has ever even made it past Hyper Mach 2. So this in this scene doesn't bother me because they're in the atmosphere. So sound travels in this medium, but whatever Hyper Mach is, I guess it's like warp factor or whatever, it's just, it is what it is. So there they go.
I just wanted to say I was happy that bowling was mentioned in this episode.
Yeah.
Right? Because Hunk thought it was a stray bowling ball. And then, of course, they get into a conversation about, you stink at bowling. I got a strike once on the wrong lane, right? And then a little bit later, Keith talks about, where were the pins, So I like how bowling was mentioned in this episode.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, that is a good thing. So Lance and Daniel take Red Lion up into the exosphere to try to catch the thing, the probe, whatever it is. And Pidge and Keith object, but Lance takes Red up to nearly Hyper Mach 2. Now they're getting the whole idea of traveling at some hyper multiple of the speed of sound is literally getting a bit thin because they're in the exosphere, but whatever. Yeah, and so the script, interestingly enough, calls this probe a blur beast. So there you are. We could call it the probe. Pidge later calls it Speedy. But in any event, they push up to Hyper Mach 2 almost. Then the probe gets another burst of speed, and I guess a subsonic wave or a hypersonic wave or something like the Death Star shockwave of the special editions flares out from the probe. It hits Red Lion, and it briefly loses controls. It loses control of its flight.
Above the atmosphere. A
Above
sonic
the atmosphere.
wave.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like and again, you know, there are a lot of things in sci-fi where I'm like, whatever, you know,
Yeah,
warp drive, right? Warp drive, you just have to take it. But
it's fun to point them out.
yes, and hyperdrive, okay, cool. But in the Attack of the Clones, when Jango Fett uses the sonic charge, as cool as it sounds, they're in space. And yes, you got the spaceship engines and all that, which we take for granted for dramatic license. But when you call a weapon a sonic charge, yeah. Anyway, at least they used it appropriately in The Mandalorian. But yeah. So anyway, Daniel asks Lance if he can have the controls because speed is his thing with his VoltCon and all that. And Lance gets surprisingly annoyed that this cadet thinks he can fly Red Lion better than he can. And I love the line that he says, where Lance says, "Remember, I was the Red Lion while you were still playing with your Voltron toys."
Yep.
And then he says, "Yeah, but my Lance action figure didn't get all snarty on me," or something like that.
Yeah, Lance in the original continuity was always kind of moody. I mean, he was moody in Go Lion, but I think he seemed a little too in this episode. Like, just, I know he was learning a lesson, but he just seemed ready to fly off the handle at a minute's notice all through the episode.
Yeah, I agree. Lance is on the moody side in general, but yeah, it felt almost like a regression because I mean Lance came to really like them in the pilot, really, the premiere, and it reminded me a little bit of, just to jump across sci-fi like we tend to do here, in Serenity, when Mal is sort of reverted a little bit to be a little bit on the, you know, on the rough side. You know, he'd become a little bit warmer toward the end of Firefly, and then kind of got his edge back in the movie so that he could soften again.
Hey, you're on my crew. You're not on my crew unless I tell you you are. You know?
Yes, yeah. So yeah. Anyway, it's development for the sake of development in this one episode.
Yes, but I mean, you have to, when you want to make a point like that in an episode, you have to continue to make your main character likable, even if you're gonna have them make mistakes. So like, you have to kind of pull your punches a little bit. So
that's true.
Saying it's a show for adolescents. I mean, this show came out 5 years after Avatar. Like, there's a different level of writing that's expected for a show that a 12-year-old will watch. So
yeah, very good point.
Anyway, that annoyed me, I will say. But I mean,
no, I know what you're getting at too. My daughter, until fairly recently, used to watch a Disney kids show called Bunked. It's a spin-off of another sitcom called Jessie, neither of which I like. But it's just the episode, it's cliche. The episode is just formula. One of the kids screws up in a repeatable way, like they do every few episodes. They learn the error of their ways and how to be a better friend. And then a few episodes later, he screws up again. They rotate through which character screws up in some dumb way. So this is, yeah. But anyway, it gives it a plot. So yeah, Red, the probe smashes into Red Lion a couple times, and it begins to fall toward the planet Eris. The other Lions launch to try to save the day. And apparently Red will recharge when they form Voltron. So,
but before that, they found like a beetle on the outside of the hull of the Red Lion. It was immediate.
Oh, a bug?
emitting some kind of a low frequency homing signal.
Ah, yes, I did forget that. So basically, Red Lion couldn't go back home to recharge because if it did, then the
It
probe
would
might,
know where the
figure
cave
out.
is.
Right.
Right.
So they're going to recharge when they form Voltron instead, which is reminds me of an episode of the original series where Yellow Lion lost a ton of power, and the Lions had to form Voltron to recharge Yellow Lion. And in theory, the Lions were in free fall. Or Yellow Lion was in free fall, and the other, I mean, it's all the same stock footage, but you're supposed to pretend that the Yellow Lion is in free fall when they form Voltron, which was fun. But in any case, the Red Lion has enough juice to fly up again and try to combine with the other lions. Yeah,
Thank you. I'm glad somebody else saw that, because I was like, they make a big deal about the fact that he's used up all this power, but then the kid gets in the, gets up there and, is flying a zillion miles an hour, and then it goes back out. Like, I kept thinking it was going to run out of gas, and, it wasn't just going to be Lance's lesson learned, but also the kid's lesson learned, because he, runs out of gas midair and falls screaming to the earth, and everybody gets to learn a lesson.
Right.
Yeah, it is kind of weird how they kind of forgot that whole out of power thing.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, you're just driving on empty.
There were two original series Voltron episodes that this one kind of reminded me of. There was Lotor's New Hitman, which I remember the title of because it was my favorite in the original series. It's the one with the very fast robeast that they're trying to catch. And they have
the
to-
Red Robeast, was that it?
Yes, and they have to come up with some kind of strategy to catch him. So that it reminded me a lot of that, and it kind of built on that.
Yeah.
The other one,
pilot.
the other one was called The Sincerest Form of Flattery, I think, which is the one where Lotor sends his robeast to try to attempt to keep Voltron from forming.
Right.
And the
Yes.
solar energy of Voltron forming shoots the robeast back and almost destroys it.
Yes.
So I feel like whoever wrote this episode hadn't seen all of the original series.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember that. I thought that was such a cool scene in the
Question,
original show.
there is a built-in mechanism that prevents enemies from attacking them while they're forming.
There should be, but in this episode there wasn't.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So then you might ask, in the original show, why don't they just somehow fly at a robeast while they're forming Voltron
Yeah, exactly.
with that energy around them and use that as their ultimate weapon?
It'd be almost like Battle of the Planets with the Phoenix, where they just have the flaming, ship that just launches itself at the enemy.
Right.
Or it could be used to create a shield later.
There you go.
If they did that, we'd never see the blazing sword. So,
Fair enough.
Right.
Can't have that.
And if we would have just stopped Wonder Woman from twirling around, when she was still Diana Prince, she would have never become Wonder Woman. Stop her
That's
from
true.
twirling around.
yep. Valid
Yeah.
point.
What if she was in a skating rink or something and didn't have skates on, and she slips and falls while she's spinning, and someone throws a banana peel under her shoes? I mean, yeah,
Here's
she's
the
out.
thing, though. If you ever watched like the old show, she still has her superpowers when she's walking around in her plain clothes.
Yeah.
So
She's really just changing her clothes in
she's
an
really
exciting
just
way.
changing her clothes in a fun way. Like she has all of her superpowers in her
Okay.
regular clothes. She
You're
just,
right.
like,
We've really derailed.
powerful.
We have.
How we
I
got-
haven't, but I will say I haven't seen the Wonder Woman TV show in so long. It's sad, but yeah. So going back to the show, got to get us back on the rails there, Kevin.
So I did want to say that I liked Alora's line. Okay, if it wants Voltron, let's give it Voltron. She just sounded so forceful when she was saying it.
And it's better than when Keith in some other episode says, "Well, what do you say we form our mighty friend?" This was a lot better. Yeah. So they're trying to form Voltron. The Lions connect right before they form the head. The probe smashes into Voltron and splits it apart into the 5 lions. So apparently the super glue or the interlocks or dynatherms or whatever hadn't quite gelled, and off they go. So up in space, the lions try to combine a couple more times, and the probe keeps, speedy, as Pitch calls it, keeps disrupting everything. Lance even says, "Hey, can we skip the preamble? the whole activate interlock spiel. And
We the
still,
people.
Let's try it again with the foreplay as writ.
yeah, so they can't form, and so what do? They retreat, and they try to retreat. The probe smashes into the Lions over and over again, and the Lions seem to be falling back to planet Eris, just as Red Lion had earlier. And that's the end of Act 1. So there you go.
Yeah, the only time I've ever heard the word preamble is with the Constitution. So I've never heard people use that line anywhere else.
So Article 1, form, feet, and legs. Is that it? Anyway. Yeah, so Act 2 starts. And so just as when Red Lion began to fall toward Eris out of power and flies straight back up in a controlled fashion to form Voltron, now before the commercial break, all the Lions were falling down to Eris. But here at the beginning of Act 2, they all have a nice, safe, soft landing inside the landing bay of the Castle of Lions.
Yep.
And yeah, everybody's kind of bummed out that they got their lion butts kicked. And Daniel basically points out, and of course Lance is increasingly frustrated with Daniel for having the audacity to express his own opinions and views. And he basically says, look, I'm Voltron's biggest fan, until Dudley comes along later.
Dudley!
Yes.
I told you I was Voltron's biggest fan.
I love that. But anyway, Daniel says, I've even timed how long it takes to form Voltron. It takes 36 seconds. And I must tell you, not me.
You haven't done whole articles about that.
I will say I've never timed it, but I did make a video on our YouTube channel where I did what I call the Voltron formation races, where Lion and vehicle Voltron. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I have never timed it. I never actually have measured the time. I had to draw the line.
I actually timed Voltron Legendary Defender, and it came out to 36 seconds. And I thought they were paying homage to this show.
Wow.
As a result of that.
That's
You're
possible.
such a nerd, Mark.
High five. Good job. All research.
And I said that in a good way, Mark.
Yeah,
Seriously.
of course.
No, seriously. I mean, that's cool. And yeah. So good stuff. And apparently Daniel and then Vince, they start chiming in. And I'll please, Mark, I meant that in a good way. I love the nerd stuff.
I know.
So yeah.
I don't mind being called a nerd at all.
Good. That's good. That's right. Anyway,
We got to own it.
that's right. So Daniel says, "Yay, I'm surprised this is the first time that the Lions were ever stopped from forming Voltron." And I love that the other pilots, the seasoned pilots, are like, "Huh?" You know, I mean,
That was a good work in that story. That was really cool. Because I mean, we've all thought it probably before.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the show, if that is indeed a thing, unlike the original show with the fancy lightning force field thing, if that is a thing in this show, it is funny that none of them have ever even considered it before.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a good point that Daniel makes, and yet Lance is still ticked off at Daniel for speaking. And basically, Keith gives Pidge 6 hours to enable the Lions to form Voltron more quickly.
What was that about? Why 6? Did I miss that? What was the
Well,
6?
don't forget they were still counting down the clock from 22 hours down, and now they've lost time, so now there's only 6 hours left.
Okay. All right.
Or did he give them a little bit of buffer room so that they could, have the remaining time to pray to
time.
Alfor or something for some kind of
Why
put
wasn't
the
Alfor
key
helping out
on the
with that?
blazing sword, or turn this chest shield upside down, or whatever little
Well,
gimmick.
I'm telling you right now, Savannah has only 36 seconds to come back.
Okay. You have 36 seconds.
Ah!
All right,
Bales is
so
here to take her place until she gets back.
FlashForm,
All right.
go.
that's right. Yeah. Anyway, Pidge basically later in the hangar, Pidge shows Vince.
Made it.
All right, you did make it back. That was great, Savannah. So the scene so basically at this point, Lance is sparring in the dojo or the Castle Lions classroom that's in the holodeck sort of dojo configuration. Daniel walks in while Lance is sparring with a Lotor hologram, and is trying once again to plead with Lance, that Daniel might be able to help the Lions combine with his speed power. And Lance just won't hear it. He drops a towel and said, "Hey, this is the line.
Cross the line."
Yeah, don't cross the line." What I do like, and they actually explicitly point this out in the script, which we have graciously been allowed to look at for these reviews by World Events Productions. Thank you again to Web for that. Daniel,
ooh, can we get copies of all those?
not for me to say, but
I'll call Tiffany.
Yeah.
I'll call Tiffany.
That's all right. So Daniel, it basically it's called out in the script that Daniel uses his foot and pushes the line forward a bit to show he's made a decision. He's like, okay, sorry, Lance, but I got to do this. So that was a nice visual touch there. Then you see Pidge and Vince in the hangar. Pidge is saying, "Hey, here's my upgrade plan. It's not nearly good enough, but it's something." Vince vanishes, and it turns out that Daniel has basically grabbed him from behind, and it takes him into the Great Hall, where Daniel says, he needs Vince's help to be the wingman, as Daniel tries to use his VoltCom to increase the speed of the Red Line. And
don't you like the science speak that Pidge uses as to how he's going to do it?
Something about the mega thrusters and the somethings. I don't remember what it was. Do you?
Yeah, all you have to do is recalibrate the thermodynamic generator and focus the resulting power to the mega thrusters.
Right.
That's all you got to do.
Well, duh.
I did that yesterday.
So what exactly is a thermodynamic generator? Is it a furnace? I
mean, not really. I think probably central heating and air is your thermodynamic generator.
Yeah, an HVAC. So Vince basically says, "Oh, Lance and Keith will go supernova if we do this," but he does agree eventually to go along with it. So back in the hangar, they take the Red Lion. Daniel hooks his VoltCom into the console, and the Red Lion shoots out of the hangar super duper fast. Lee. And so that's a cool thing. And what did they say? Daniel says something about this is fun, and Vince says, "I think we have different definitions of fun," or different something like that.
We clearly have different definitions of the word awesome.
Oh, awesome.
Awesome.
There we go. All right, so good deal. And what's going on? Yes, the Lion is going super duper fast. They make it into space, and they find the probe. And Daniel takes the Lion up to Hyper Mach 2, generating a hypersonic boom in space at Hyper Mach 2, whereas regular Mach, a sonic boom happens at Mach 1. Hyper must double the something, but there you go. So but I guess we've already talked about that already.
I hope Jeremy doesn't watch this episode.
We love you, Jeremy.
We're just having fun.
If they get to Hyper Mach 5, they get to see Speed Racer.
Ooh, I love that. Great reference.
So
alternate story idea, since Lance is being such a jerk and we see him in the gym so much, it could be this whole side thing where it's actually about his steroid abuse and how he
does look much more muscular.
He needs to get
this.
his roid rage under control because it's affecting his ability to cooperate with his teammates in an effective way.
Maybe they would have done that in season 2.
We're going to have to send him to anger management classes.
That's right.
Exactly.
They should have done that with Hunk, since now he was muscular in this one and he was a fatty before. So
he did look much beefier in this show than he did in the earlier.
Hunk was all muscle this show.
Yeah, it's actually interesting how differently Hunk was drawn in the original show, how inconsistently. Sometimes he did look pretty buff, and at other times he just looked like me. but
Panache plays figures, he had the beer belly.
Oh my lord.
With his hand on it.
I love the Panache place figures, but that is such a horrible sculpt. I have to admit it. Yeah, but I will tell you this, that as I was working on my Vehicle Voltron project, I very quickly realized why they made his arm hold his belly. And it's because if both arms had been down to his sides, They literally would have had to make the yellow and blue lions wider, which impacts the proportions of the entire Voltron toy.
Right. They wouldn't fit in the
So
line.
it is Hunks.
You're kidding me.
I'm
That's
serious. I'm
fascinating.
serious. Yes, because I had a Hunk turned into the big guy in the vehicle team, Rocky. And Rocky he has his arms down to both sides, and I had to make his vehicle a lot wider for him to fit in it. And yeah, so there you go.
That needs to be a trivia question at VoltCon.
There you go. There you go.
So Rocky would need to get 2 seats on Southwest.
Oh.
Trivia. Here's a little trivia for you. In the earliest vehicle team scripts, the Rocky character was still called by his original name, Moose.
Moose.
Bullwinkle Rocky. I'm not kidding.
Oh,
There you go. There you go.
That's hysterical.
it's just a coincidence.
That's sure. Yeah. So Red Lion catches up to the probe. I love when hey Rocky, watch me pull the air team out of my hat. So
Please don't start doing voices because I can't. We could be here all night if I get you to start doing that.
Here's something you'll really love. Anyway, so the Red Lion flies up and grabs the so they get a good nice photograph of it, or a space photograph, whatever they take. And Red Lion flies up and grabs the little probe in its mouth for a short time, showing that they can catch up to it, that they can capture it, and even injure it. The probe takes off. Red Lion breaks free and heads back to the castle finally.
Okay, but Vince had wanted to just, after he took pictures of it, go back to the castle at that point. Right. Daniel had a different idea, and he actually wanted to physically touch this thing. And then he did, and then he was able to go back to the castle.
So nothing bad happened to him for doing that, and nothing bad happened to him for taking off and, going drag racing while his vehicle was out of gas. I feel like this child has just learned nothing.
Right.
That is a recurring theme.
It is.
In Voltron Force.
He gets away with a lot of
They
stuff.
all do, but Daniel in particular.
Yeah.
There's that one episode, which episode was it, where they had to clean up the lions? They were covered in mud or grime or something. And that's really the only indication that they ever had to do any, they ever got punished for anything that they did. Anyway, so yeah, so they're back at the classroom, and Daniel's back at the classroom, and where are they at? Yeah, they're in the dojo. Lance is ticked off because Daniel crossed the line, and I would agree with you, like with you, Savannah. He did in this scene. However, the ends justify the means, or so says Keith.
Now, grant you, if his mentor had been decent, he could have come to him with his legitimate suggestion. He would have taken it seriously and brought it before a committee, and they could have thought about a safe and effective way to actually just so much. No.
What are we teaching kids in America with this episode? What are we teaching them?
Yeah, so
it's okay to cross the line.
So I would say this is one of the, so in the Stranger Things show, I often like, why does nobody ever talk to anybody else? I know they don't have cell phones, but if they would just have conversations,
there you go.
The show would every season would wrap up so much more quickly. The same is true here. Just because Lance is being a heel doesn't mean that they couldn't have gone to Pidge, who was right there in the hangar with Vince. And they could have just gone right back in there and told Pidge, who would totally have been on board. Right?
Yeah, because you would have seen the merit of the idea if it was presented in a sound fashion.
Yeah, or tell Keith. Keith is no nonsense, and because he's no nonsense, he would have said, "Yeah, that's not a bad idea."
That idea. Let's try some sort of controlled test before we just
jeopardize our lives.
Jeopardize everybody's lives in this very one-of-a-kind machine that can't be replaced.
You guys are really talking me out of liking this show. Now I'm going to tear every episode apart when I watch it and be like, oh my God.
I'm just having fun. This is what I do to show. If I didn't care, I wouldn't bother. That's the whole point. You should hear me watch Star Trek.
Oh yeah. Is it the Metrons or the Metrones? Make up your mind, Captain Kirk. But anyway, yeah. Star Trek, yes. But Yeah, or Kukulkan or Kukulkan in the animated series. The actors use different pronunciations. Yeah.
Right.
So So yes, what's going on here? Lance is ticked off again, and then Keith says, "Hey, cool down. You know, we think we have an option here. This is great." Lance is it?
I was kind of surprised. Okay, I really thought Daniel and Vince were going to get in trouble. And when Keith came in and said, you should be thanking the cadets, not lecturing them, that caught me by surprise. I really thought Keith was going to be on the strict level, you know?
Mhm.
And it was a surprise to me when I first saw the show. So then Pidge explains why they're okay with what the cadets did.
Yeah,
It's like
it
taking
seems.
that Force out for a spin. Like, what if they had wrecked it? Then it would have been okay.
Yeah, if they'd instead taken out that one and only fractal fighter or shuttle that they ever use in the whole series and crashed it, yeah, that would have been a thing. But they've got 4 spare Lions, so if they crash a Red Lion,
Oh, yeah. No more Voltron, but
well, yeah.
We could have
But,
taken Awesome Tron. Is Awesome Tron out yet in episode 8?
Not
yet.
yet.
Not
Oh,
yet.
Soon.
My
But
bad.
soon. That's all right. They talked about it. They
oh, it
teased
reminded me of Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Like when the 2 boys got in the Red Lion.
That's right.
Oh, I'm just
Yeah.
seeing that
Exactly the
Corvette.
same thing.
Anyway, love it. Or not Corvette, whatever that car was, that sports car. Yeah, but yeah, so Lance is still ticked off. He storms out. And then back in the control room, Lance is standing there staring at a screen of things, probably probe data or whatever. And Allura
Probe
tells
data.
him probe data. That's right.
Very good.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a weird facial expression to those who are only listening to the podcast. Yes. So basically, Allura, Lance is ticked that Daniel defied his orders. Allura says, you used to be more reckless than Daniel is now. And Lance just sort of has to admit it. And Allura says that Daniel just wants to impress the person he admires most. Lance seems to get a clue. And all of a sudden, the castle gets hit over and over and over and over again by the probe, which they've started calling the Eye because the probe looks like a giant self-propelled eyeball.
And this was the part that I picked up on that I had trouble with.
Okay.
The thing starts bashing in the castle, and you can see it breaking through the castle, cracks forming everywhere.
Yeah.
And then Punk says, "Oh, there ain't nothing getting through this castle. It's made of this and this and this." And I'm like, we just saw the thing falling apart and that eye busting through things. So I just thought that was a little. Anybody else?
Yes.
Anybody?
Yes.
Okay.
I would. So
the animators
Like, why
went a
did you
little
just say that?
strong on that one.
Yeah. I'm like, nope, you're kind of in trouble because I just saw it breaking through.
yes.
Well, it doesn't
So
have any problem with the ground, so it really could just break through underneath it and drop it down into the magma, underneath. If it gets
That's
too
true.
far.
Magma.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
true.
just- that would be uncomfortable at least.
This is why I don't write shows, because everything that I write would be over in like 4 minutes because I would skip all that stuff that doesn't make any sense.
I'll tell you, I have written.
That's why
I
you're
have
nice
tr-
friends with Kevin, because you're not dramatic in that way.
Oh,
But I will tell you, I've tried to write story after story, and I keep nitpicking the logic in my own stories. I can't
Yeah.
give myself
Uh-huh.
You
the
got
same leeway that you have to give yourself to a television episode.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can't do it in my own writing. It's sad.
right.
you have to have this type of science speak that now Hunk is saying. He's saying that's reinforced super steel alloy with sub-Wexler enforced bracing.
Exactly.
What is sub-Wexler?
Okay. Okay, I think I know, actually.
Really?
Yes, I Googled it a couple days ago. I was Googling to see if Adam F. Goldberg had ever worked with anybody named Wexler,
Okay.
as in maybe this is a tip of the hat. And apparently he had worked in the past with a writer-producer named Ben Wexler.
No.
I don't have his IMDb page up at the moment, but I'm guessing that he put that in as a wink and a nod to his
That is
colleague. Ken Wilson.
fascinating. My gosh, all the stuff
Yeah.
we don't know like that, that's kind
Yeah.
of cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
wow.
like
That's
it's
nice.
like
It's like saying your friend has like a strong spine and like is very supportive.
There you go.
yeah, and also the original series has, I think, a version of this. You'll hear numerous references in the original series to a measuring unit called the taquette. It's just sort of sprinkled in different episodes, and I have skimmed the scripts of those episodes as well. The spelling is not consistent across the scripts, but in one of them it starts out as Teich, which is how
John Teichman.
exactly, John Teichman had the same spelling in his name, and I'm wondering if that
Yes.
was a tip of the hat to him.
Wow.
So there you go.
Oh, that's fun.
Yes. So in any event, that was the end of Act 2. So the kid's getting pounded, but nobody cares. That's right. So Act 3 starts. The Voltron Force is standing outside on the balcony of the castle as the castle is getting pounded from the outside by the probe. It's a good thing the probe is too stupid to do anything other than hit a very heavily fortified wall.
But,
Rumba.
but Pidge gives the time limit this time. Now they only have 1 hour that they can take this beating.
Yes.
1 hour.
And of course,
Exactly 60 minutes.
that's right. And the clock starts now. Yes. So anyway, they what's going on here? Lance says, hey, no problem. We have a secret weapon. He puts his hand on Daniel's shoulder. Daniel nods, and off they go. So they're running across the desert, this rocky thing that we saw them do in the very first episode when Daniel says, hey, this is going to be one big story. They do this quick flash from shot to shot, and we'll see it at the very end of the season. Spoilers, but they're running across this rocky field, and they're having a face-off with the probe. So apparently they've launched the Lions, and the probe has decided to try to pound the Lions instead of the castle. And they wait for it. Daniel plugs the VoltCon into the console, and the Lions flash form into Voltron for the very first time.
That
Which
was
is so
quick.
practical, and I hate it because I really realized how much I really loved the long Sailor Moon transformation sequence.
Yeah.
I do
Sailor Moon.
like it in the show.
Yeah.
I liked it as a kid. I mean, you look forward to it as a kid. You needed to see that every episode, but now I'm like, all right, come on. I know.
No, totally.
Just
with
get
you.
it done.
Now, what I need to check really quickly, because I'm nerdy enough to remember to need to check it now, but not nerdy enough to have looked at this last night. When the Lions finally form Voltron, if you watch the flash form sequence, okay, I'm skipping ahead to it right now. Sorry.
I can't wait.
There's a fun little trick that they do when they flash form, an animation trick. And you might notice in the regular formation sequence that in this show and no other, the black lions, how the rear legs of black lions goes into the rear ends of blue and yellow. Well, in this show, the same thing happens with black lions' front legs that go into red and green lion if you watch the formation sequence, only in Voltron Force. In flash form, Black Lion loses its arms as the lions connect, so they don't have to worry about lining up the front leg of the lion into each of the arms. There's just these discs that stick out of Voltron's shoulders, which are presumably the shoulders of the Black Lion. The other leg, the rest of the legs are just gone, and who knows why. But in every flash form sequence, that's how it is if you look at it. And the lions just hook up, and everything's hunky dory.
I could have watched that 100 times and never noticed that.
Yeah, so there it is. But it's a fun cheat, and it happens so quickly that only a super nerd would ever look at it to try to notice that. But there it is. So they flash form, and it's pretty cool. And Voltron punches the eye and sends it flying into space, which is a pretty fun way to start the fight. So what's that?
Be gone, Space Roomba.
So after they get up into space, what happens to this eye?
Oh, well, the eye, which was small enough to fit in Red Lion's mouth, without it having to open its mouth really wide. A bunch
Now-
of stuff comes out of the eye, and it becomes a row beast that's as big as Voltron. So that's quite a trick.
Yeah, that was a big trick. There's no
Yes.
freaking way this thing is this
No.
big as Voltron.
And it was the flimsiest, chintziest looking robot. I was like, you could just go.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't made of anything. It was
and-
skinny.
And Hunk says, I liked him better when he was just an eye.
Yes. Exactly. So so they seem evenly matched until Voltron forms the blazing sword. Daniel plugs the VoltCon in again, and Voltron gets a speed boost, or as they call it earlier in the episode, I believe, a turbo boost. And of course, I immediately think of Knight Rider. And Voltron, they're all those cool. I'm thinking of Space Maul from Legendary Defender, where the Galasu, whatever that fancy knife was, and you hear all the little swishing sounds as he's using that fancy knife. You hear the similar sounds as Voltron slices the row beast into a bajillion pieces, and the row beast is destroyed. As Voltron leaves the scene, an eyeball leaves the wreckage of the row beast and flies off into space. And there's something kind of interesting about another one of those moments a little later in the episode here. But so we go back to the dojo in the Castle of Lions. Daniel is now fighting the Lotor hologram and getting his butt kicked. They have a nice little heart-to-heart. Daniel says he's not as good at Lance at some things. And Lance apologizes in a way that really does seem like a natural way for Lance to apologize, and tells him he did a good job. So back in the control room, Keith wonders if whoever sent the probe that turns into a row beast has figured out
Not
where
like
the lions
it's
live.
purple and looks exactly like Lotor's armor or anything. Practically said, I belong to Lotor.
Who can it be now?
My other car is a row beast coffin on the bumper sticker. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we now go back to Mayhawks' lair in Castle Doom, and we see a bunch of data displaying on this screen. And so the eye that left Eris seems to be the same eye that is beaming data into this display and ultimately flies into Mayhawks' eye socket.
Exactly.
So again, we saw an eyeball that the red lion was able to fit in its mouth, but it was still of substantial size, maybe 4 feet, 5 feet in diameter. It grows into a Voltron-sized row beast, and now it returns to Castle Doom, and it seemingly is Mayhawks' eye. So is the eye that left the row beast the original eye, or is it some smaller thing that was driving the row beast?
Well,
And
things
now- I
shrink
don't
on
know.
Planet Doom, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
there's Entrati.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the
I'm
script
gonna go
said,
with it was a smaller escape pod eye that left
Oh.
the wreckage of the.
There you go.
yeah.
I mean, Megatron's a giant robot that turns into a gun that a human can hold. You know.
Ugh. And then in the cartoon, he's a robot in
Observation of
disguise.
mass means nothing.
Yeah, in the comic book, the G1 comic, he did turn into a human-sized handgun. In the cartoon, his robot in disguise mode was a Earth-style gun that was sized for a transformer.
Right.
But anyway, yeah. So basically, in the script states that there are blinking dots on a display of Planet Eris, which is supposed to make it really clear that he did find the dens. What we see visually is just these 360 rotating images of the lions positioned around Eris. So it's a little ambiguous, but Mayhawks does say, "I see you," which suggests that he has indeed
He
found the
knows
dens.
where they are.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
And the show ends with Mayhawks giving a really, really great evil laugh. And we fade
Must-
out. And that's
Must
the
be
episode.
nice. Ron Halder comes in to say 3 words, I see you, and gets a full paycheck. Isn't that awesome?
Good life.
Yeah, that is a pretty cool thing. Let me check the voice credits very quickly. Did he do any other character? He might have played Barmy. Yes, he was Farmer Barmy. That's correct.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So he gets to be both.
Yeah. So in this episode, it's all the usual people that you might expect. You know, except that Ron Halder also plays Barmy. So yeah, the voice credits are who you might expect: Giles Panton as Keith, Andrew Francis as Lance, Ashley Ball as Allura, Sam Vincent as Pidge, Ty Olson as Hunk, Vincent Tong as Daniel, Doron Bell Jr. as Vince, Shannon Chan Kent as Larmina, and Ron Halder again as Mayhawks and Barmy.
As it turns out, not a bowling ball.
Nope.
Not a bowling ball.
So what do you guys think of this episode? As much as we made fun of it, what'd you think?
I liked the plot of the eyeball. I thought the character stuff was a little out of character. So that's kind of good in one way, not so good in the other way.
There was a lot of development on Lance and Daniel on this one.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, they had to take a couple steps back to make those steps forward, but it was nice to see a strengthening of the bond there. That was a good thing. But yeah, I do. It does seem a little bit off kilter in that character department. Kevin, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I don't know. I just kept looking at. I really like the lions, the details of the lions in this show, and I just kept, because I hadn't really watched it in a while, so I was, I think, more focusing on how the design of the lions were and how cool I thought they were, and I'd forgotten that, so I wasn't paying much attention to the story as I should have. But it's just really cool, and it makes you really upset that like we're never going to have any of those toys.
It does.
Yeah.
Doesn't this particular Voltron look the most like a toy of any of the other Voltrons? I noticed that. Like kind of.
Look
I
like a
feel
what?
Like when you watch this particular Voltron assemble, it looks the most toy-like of all the other Voltrons.
Oh, toy-like,
the other
yeah.
Voltron assembling sections. Like it feels the most touchable and toy-like.
Yeah,
of all of them.
it's cool. It's a really cool.
Toyetic, as we call it in the business.
So I did like that about it too.
Yeah.
And you know, all making fun of notwithstanding, I just like to pick on things because it's fun. You know?
Yeah, same here. I mean,
No lessons about roid rage or Grand Theft Auto.
How about the toy companies have made an eye fly
That's true.
at Hyper Mach 2 or Hyper Mach 3?
Not
Wow.
yet.
I'd like to see the toy company that can make that happen.
Now I remember
Or
those.
have it turn into a Robeast.
That would be something. I remember those old scale, the electric slot car racing sets where they would say this car goes at 150 scale miles an hour. So maybe if they made the eyeball small enough, it could go at Hyper Mach 2 scale speed. I don't know. Whatever that is.
It's
Yeah.
a made up unit of measurement. I think we
They
can
can
call almost
make whatever
anything
claim they
that.
want.
That's true. That's true. I would
It
agree with
sounds
you.
good for marketing purposes.
Right.
Sure. And Savannah, I would agree with you that this Voltron has a very toy-like quality to it. I think a lot of it is the colors, because the colors of all the Lions and Voltron are so vivid. As opposed to, Green Lion tends to look a little darker in the other shows.
Mhm.
Yellow tends to lean a little bit toward amber. Red tends to be a little darker than a bold red. But in this show,
These are
it's
Crayola
all out.
colors.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
They pop,
Crayola
yeah.
colors are real bright primaries, and the and just the way it moves and the way things connect, just
Yeah.
feel they have a lot of.
I like them better than the legendary Defender Lions.
I agree.
Can I say that?
I agree. I think the Lions in this show look.
They're sharp.
I love the styling of the Lions. in
They're
this
sharp.
show.
They're sleek. Yeah, they're cool.
I
So is somebody that we know working on
Toy
building
lines,
those
I like
lions
them
by
better.
chance?
Nobody I know.
Nobody?
Mm, It
Yeah.
has been in the back of my mind for several months. Yes.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Okay. VoltCon 2022, baby.
Yeah, we'll see.
You
So-
gotta set a date or Greg won't do it.
Challenge
Life-
extended.
Yeah, you've got 6 hours.
yeah, that was funny. That one moment, like I love when you do that to engineers in science fiction shows where they're all like, I have to do this really insane thing that would take like, JPL
Several
like
weeks.
3 years to
Yeah.
do, and they're just sort of like, you've got 4 hours. I just want to say, like, one time I want an engineer to look them in the eyes and be like, no, this is going to take 2 years of research and development. No.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah, but
Well,
yeah.
if you tell somebody you have to have it done in 4 hours, at least they don't have to work overtime.
Yeah, you can't pay Scotty time and a half for overtime. That's for sure. But yeah.
The ship explodes.
So as much as we poke fun at this episode, I actually like it a lot. I like the action. The lions zipping around at super fast speeds is pretty cool. Just from a sheer action perspective, I really dig it. And I like the fact that that Daniel, even though yes, he takes it a step too far and steals a lion, I do like that he gets the support of his colleagues, and in the sense that yes, they should get they in general they need to be more responsible for their own actions and pay the consequences, etc. That was a problem throughout the series, but this time around, I like that Daniel got to be the hero. Because he had been the sidekick to Vince in the Lion Riders Return episode, and he's from the very first episode. It's his big dream to lead the Voltron Force as the Black Lion pilot. So it's nice to see him shine in this episode. So from that perspective, I really like this one.
No, that was cute.
Yeah. The series was good. It's a shame that we never got to see any more development past that. It would have been really cool to see where they went season 2,
Yeah.
Now,
Agreed.
at the end of this episode, did you guys think that from now on, we're not going to get the full sequence? We're just going to get FlashForm go all the time now?
I didn't think that was likely, just because it's so iconic. I knew people would miss it. It seems like a thing they'll use in emergencies.
Right.
The fact that he has to be there for it to happen, and it wasn't just something they could take from his gadget to install into the Lion, seemed like it was unlikely that it would be a permanent fixture.
So he won't be there every single time they're out in the lines.
I mean, that was my thought. That gives them a nice excuse to not do it every time, because you want it to transformation. All you need is an excuse for him not to be in the Lion, to not be able to do it. That's nice.
I think later, but certainly not in this episode, but there's a later episode where they established that FlashForm and changing configurations draws a lot more of Voltron's power. So that becomes their made up reason why they don't do it all the time.
Achilles heel.
The Achilles heel. I like that a lot better. That sounds more smarter than what I said. But yeah.
Especially if we're talking about a one-legged Voltron, it makes sense to have an Achilles heel.
That's true. And there is an episode later where there is a one-legged Voltron, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway.
So the cool thing is that we're now seeing, we know that Daniel can plug his Voltron into the Lions and make them do stuff. And it affects the full Voltron as well. But now, what's the possibilities for Larmina now?
Mm-hmm.
What could she do?
And we did see that Vince, although we don't see him plug the VoltCom in formally, we do know that he has this ability, possibly enabled or enhanced by the VoltCom, to recharge Voltron or give it a little bit of an extra oomph. So what's going on with Larmina? Maybe we'll see in a future episode.
Yeah. Can't wait for that one. We're talking zombies in that one, right?
Gosh, I love that episode. But anyway, yes. Great reenactment of a zombie there, Savannah. I'm just stating that since we do have audio only stuff. That's really hard to deliver that. But yes, that's awesome.
So I want to thank you guys, all the VoltCon organizers, for joining it. Oh my gosh.
That has to be the thumbnail for the YouTube video.
So all the VoltCon organizers, we got Kevin and Patrick and Savannah. So thank you for joining us on Let's Voltron, the official Voltron podcast. And thank you for joining us for an episode review for Voltron Force.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marc and Greg.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin.
Bye, Kevin. Bye,
Yeah.
Kevin.
Bye, guys.
And of course, we'll see you all at VoltCon. And we'll see you all next time on.
Let's Voltron!
Let's Voltron.
I'll meet you at VoltCon.